Hi, this is Mervin. So I'm here to explain about the STPA calculator Android application. So I've mirrored my phone on the laptop. So this is a view of my phone. So let's start explaining the application. So this is how the application basically works. So you have 5 text views which have data structures, TBMS, and the other subjects. So when you enter the marks, let's say 85, 64. 96, 85 and 65, and when you say done and when you click on get STPA, you get congratulations, you cleared all your papers, and this is your custom toast followed by the STPA. Now when you reset, it clears out all the fields, and now if you enter with some marks less than 40, which I have set as the passing criteria, it will show you a different result. When you say done and when you click on get STPA, you get reappearance required because 2 of the grades are F, which means it's a fail grade. So this is basically how the Android application works. So when you click on reset again, it clears it all out. So now so this is the working of the app, and that's about it. So let's just get to the coding part. So now this is the activity underscore main.xml. So this is your design. So this is the entire marks field which we saw on the application. It's a text view, and all these are also other text views which have, these are edit text, which have their separate IDs which we've assigned to them, as you can see here, like DB, DS and all that. We also have a few edit text over here which do not have any text as of now because it's set to an empty string, which we will see about later. So in the text part, so this is how the activity underscore main.xml works. This is the XML file which gives you the basic layout. So you give this all which is built in. So the first is the edit text, which each of these objects are, which says data structures, TBMS, and all the other subjects which we gave. So this is a text view in the beginning which says enter your marks. Then we also have a button which is get SDPA, and other text views which I told you about, which are empty in the beginning, but then we set them to different text to display the grades in the end. So this is how it works, and this is the reset button which also has its ID. So now let's go to the main activity.java file to explain how it works. So this is the main activity.java file. So what we do over here is to be able to access the components so that we can assign actions to them. So we create objects for all of the components, let's say the marks and the reset button and the get SDPA button and all the grade buttons and all that. And we also initialize grade is equal to 0. So this is the object creation for the edit text objects, button and the text view. So now inside the onCreate method, we actually declared E1, E2, E3 already. So we initialize it by finding the view by ID of those particular from the r.id.thing. So this is the DS, which is the ID of the data structure subject edit text. So when so this method, so it returns an object of edit text. So you externally cast it and you save it in E1, E2, E3, E4 and E5, and you do the same thing with the get STPA button, with the reset button, and also the other text views which are meant for the grade. So now when you're done with this, what you need to do is to be able to register it with your listener. So that is what you do over here. So for example, this is the functionality of the reset button. So when you say reset, you've gotten the object in reset. So when you say set on click listener, so this is what it does inside its onClick method. This is the shorthand notation. So it sets all the text to an empty string, which means that if at all we already have something going on, and when you put this, it gets an empty string, so that all the form is cleared out. So that is basically what the reset button does. So now you go on to the functionality of the SDPA button. So you say b1.set onClick listener, new view.onClick listener, and inside the onClick method, this is what you do. So you've already entered the values in the edit text. So when you say, so you get the values of each of these in different integers, and when you say you get it in an integer object, so you convert it to a string using toString, and then you get the int value. So then to find the grade for each subject, you pass it through a function called check. So let's see how the check function works. So this is the check function. So you pass the value. So depending on what the value is, it returns a different grade. For example, if the value of the marks is greater than 90 and less than or equal to 100, you say O, and likewise for the different criteria. So going back there, so we've gotten the grades of each of the subjects in AA, BBB, CCC, DDD, and PEE respectively. So when you, if at all one of those equals F, it means that the person is failed in at least one of those subjects. So it says reappearance required. Else we do know that the person is passed all the subjects, and so we say congratulations, you've cleared all the papers. So, and then you know, AA, BB, CC, DD, EE were the instances of the edit text. So we set the text to the grade so that the grade is displayed. So to calculate the SGPA, this is what we do. So we pass it through a function called calc. So the calc function works as follows. So when you pass the string, so if at all the grade is 10, it adds 10 to the grade. And if at all it's S, it adds 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4 for A, B, C, D, and F respectively. So once this is done, we calculate the SGPA by, it was an integer in the beginning, so we cast it to double, and then we divide it by the number of subjects, which is 5 in this case, and then you toast it. So the toast works as follows. The toast is that small message which comes up in a black bubble. So this is how you make a toast. It says toast.makeTest get application context, which gets the current context, and then this is a string wherein you say show. So show contains your SGPA. So it says your SGPA is, for example, 8.5, and then you say toast.length underscore long dot show. So the length underscore long can also be length underscore short, and it's only a difference in the number of seconds for which the message is displayed. Then we also had a picture which came up for the custom toast. So the custom toast, this is how it works. For example, if you failed in any one of the subjects, so we create a toast object which says new toast and get application context, and then you set the duration, and then you say set view. So the VV is a view object which we will see about later. And if at all you're clearing all the papers, then it means that you set view saying UV, which is a different view object, and then you say tt.show, which helps in setting the text and toasting that you've cleared all the papers. So now let's go to that part. So this is how a custom toast actually works. So we need something called a layout inflator. The layout inflator object is created using getting the layout inflator. So now these are the view objects that we create. So you say the layout inflator object is called LF. So when you say LF.inflate har.layout.pick, and then you pass it to a view group object, and you get the ID of the XML file. And this is the XML file which we've seen. So like you can see here, we have two other layout files which are ad.xml and pik.xml. So that layout is inflated into the activity underscore main.xml, and that is how we do it. So that is how a custom toast works. So now I'll show you the contents of ad.xml and pik.xml. So this is inside the resources folder. So when you go to pik, you can actually see that I have an image view which shows the thumbs up, and in AAD we have an image view which says thumbs down. So this is the actual layout in AAD.xml and pik.xml. So this is inflated into the activity underscore main.xml to be showing you how it works. And also inside drawable, we also have two other images which are actually loaded into these XML files to be used. So this is how it works. So inside the activity underscore inside the main activity underscore Java, when you say lf.inflate r.layer.pick, it inflates the pik.xml file into the activity underscore main.xml, and because it is a view object and we're able to see it on the screen, we get the ID of the particular XML file which you can see I've given. For example, r.id.happ Here we've given the Android colon ID is HAPP. So this gets inflated there, and that is how the custom toast works. So that is how the application works. I think we successfully explained how the code works. Thank you for watching.
Yeah!